Well, hello, live stream. This is Sunday evening, September the 9th, I believe it is, and 2018. I greet you with blessings, honor, and love to all of you, and hope that you're doing well. I am your intrepid host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, my Native American shaman name. So, happy Grandparents' Day to all y'all, whether you're a grandparent or not. Maybe you're a grandchild. Now, I just did a live Facebook video and I was just kind of sort of in the mood, but the video on Facebook was too long. But I thought I would just do a little post here on Facebook. I'm sorry, here on YouTube, and just kind of briefly go over some of this, and that that on grandparents day I know that there are a lot of grandparents that I know who aren't being treated like grandparents. They have been kicked to the curb. They have been ignored by their sons, daughters, family, grandchildren. It's just really, it hurts my feelings to see them on, quote, a day on the calendar. Well, okay, Mother's Day, just a day on the calendar. Father's Day, just a day on the calendar. Grandparents' Day, again, just another day on the calendar. However, for those who look at calendars, they look at it and go, oh, today's Grandparents' Day. Does that mean something is supposed to happen for us grandparents? Does somebody send me a card, or does somebody call me on the phone or send me a text message? Does somebody say Happy Grandparents' Day to you? I'm happy day, Grandma, Grandpa, or do they call you at all? So it's like in my reflection over this topic, along with other things, it's I wonder to myself, yes, it's a construct. It's a day on the calendar, Grandparents' Day. So big deal. Do they put that date on the calendar out of guilt? Just saying. Because maybe throughout the year you haven't paid any attention to your grandparents, or maybe your parents too, for that matter, or brothers and sisters, other people. Anyway, to the point though, that they have to put the date on a calendar and say, you know what? Today we honor grandparents. And people around the world are going, whoa, I feel guilty today. I need to honor my grandparent, you know? Or is it that someone who put that on the calendar really wishes to honor grandparents? Well, in so many ways, I think it's a failure, but that's my personal opinion. But to the point, should we honor our grandparents? Should we honor our mother and our father? As the good book says, should we honor, well, my father treated me bad back in 1992, and I haven't forgiven him since. Well, but it's been 28 years, and you're still holding a grudge. Okay. Is that good for you? Is it good for the grandparent? It's like, well, maybe the grandparent or parent or whomever might actually apologize, or whatever the instance. But to just literally, some of these people, I mean, they're great women. And I'm using what I said in Facebook, bringing it forward to this YouTube channel. But there are many women that I know who haven't had contact with their sons and or daughters for a while. Just ignores them, like, doesn't matter. Oh, well, they're there. It's mom or it's dad or it's whoever. And about the grandparents, well, some of the grandkids are too young to be able to like call up and say hi to granny, but the parents won't allow them to. And I think to myself, when I'm on the Facebook thingy, I was talking about my grandma Raleigh. I love her to death. She's been past 30 years probably now. But to the point, though, she is still very close in my heart. And the things that we did, and I've talked about my grandma Raleigh before, so I won't go into it. But her husband, who died in like 63, and I would have been 11 years old when he passed away. I still remember things that I did with my grandpa Raleigh. He got me into NASCAR and stock car racing before there was a NASCAR. I mean, anyway, the smell of the gas in the engines and the vroom, vroom, vroom. Oh my God. And then to come find out later on that my grandma told me before she passed away that my grandpa Raleigh was a moonshiner. And the reason that he was into stock car races is because he knew some of them folks because he used to run moonshine from Ohio down into Kentucky and back up. He knew some of these guys. That's why he was into stock car races. Oh my God! So there's so much really cool history when you look back on grandparents, on great grandparents. Where did they come from? What did they do? What was their story? What were their hardships? What lessons did they teach? What lessons were brought down? Well, now to my grandma Null, and I'm going to just say she was not a nice lady. Many of us didn't like her for the things she did. And in her own little twisted head of hers, she thought she was doing right. And she tried to correct some things in her older age, but it was like overdone and bad. Well, not as good as it could have been. Let's just say that her good intentions went by the wayside. Okay. Now to that point though, um, it's because she had a negative effect on her daughter and her grandchildren. So that's why I meant it failed. Um, there are too many people that have issues, items, or whatever in their history, past or whatever, and that they don't want to lose their pride by saying, maybe we should sit down and discuss this. We used to be friends. We used to be family. You're my dad or my grandpa or my whatever, and we don't ever talk. We don't even acknowledge each other. You disbanded me from your Facebook page. I mean, you won't let my grandkids even speak to me. I mean, what? You could be mad at me, but you're going to tell your grandkids to be mad at me because you're mad at me? I didn't do anything to your grandkids. But you're going to tell them that, and I say me, I'm speaking of other people, that you're going to tell them that I'm a bad person because you got pissed off at me 15 years ago. And that, what? So now the grandkids grow up to say grandma was a bitch when they never met grandma. They never hung around grandma. Their point of view comes from the parent. And it's like, but wait a minute, hang on here. Why don't you let the grandchild make up their mind? Now, I can say that about my grandmother on the Knoll side because I knew her, met her, and saw what she did to me personally. So I can say that. But other people are like, well, wait a minute now. Did grandma really do anything? Well, I'm pissed at your grandmother, so I'm not going to speak to her. And you shouldn't speak to her either because she treated me wrongly. Wait a minute. Are you kidding? That's what's going on. Now, it's been happening for centuries, so this isn't a new thing, okay? But the thing is now with the communication that we have the ability to fix things. We have the ability and the technology to call and do a live chat on a computer. You don't have to go visit somebody, but how hard is it to go, call grandma up on a hangout and chat? I'm doing it, but I don't hear from my grandchildren. Now, I'm not here to down my grandchildren. I promise you, but they haven't called. But I'm more worried about other people who really, do I deserve it? Well, we won't go there. They think that I deserve it. It's enough said. But an opinion from a parent to their children keeps them from learning who their grandparents really were. And I've learned a lot from grandparents, not just my own, but as older people that I felt attached with who were like grandparents to me, who treated me well. I helped them around their house and painted their door. I did whatever was required. Sure, they paid me, but they treated me like family. And that's what I say, like I've spoke about Colonel Mark Chavar. He was a colonel in the World War II, and he was the editor in chief for all Army manuals, for example. He knew about machine guns. He knew about tanks. He was the editor of all the manuals for everything Army. If it was in the armed forces, he was the editor in chief. And I would sit and drink scotch with him in the evenings. Now I'm about 28, 29 years old, maybe 30, and I'm hanging out with this 75, 80-year-old man getting smashed on scotch, but he's telling me literally war stories. He met Eisenhower in the war zone. He met the Brit guy. I can't remember his name right now, but anyway, I said it in the Facebook. But to the point, though, I wouldn't have had these wonderful stories. I wouldn't have learned these things if I hadn't hung out with grandparents. Now, one could say, well, Dave, what do you got to offer? Friendship, love, tenderness. I know a lot about the outside and about nature and things, a lot of technical things too. There's still stuff buried in my head I'm trying to get back out. But to the point, though, I am doing this to respect my grandparents and the people I related to like a grandparent. I'm giving these people honor today. I give them honor most days, but I don't make YouTube videos about it. But Colonel Mark Chauvard and all the wonderful things. He taught history at Valdosta State College in Georgia. His wife, Willow Chauvard, was a psychologist, and she taught psychology at Valdosta State College. These were wonderful people. And I know their daughter and their grandkids. I mean, I know their grandkids. I helped babysit their grandkids way back in the day. Now they're grown up and have kids of their own, for goodness sakes. There are great grandchildren I know within this Chauvard family. I'm in ways I'm closer to them than my own family. But that's how they brought me in. That's how much they loved me. That's how much they gave to me. And I just reciprocated. I'd do anything if I could. Now, I'm not able to do any things like I used to, but I would literally, I would lay down my life if I thought I could help one of them, because they have been like family to me for all these years. Now, why is this important? It's important because there is knowledge in grandparents. There are stories with grandparents and parents too, but grandparents. Grandparents, a lot of times, aren't seen all the time. Now, I was lucky in my grandma Raleigh. She just lived down the street. When I got home from school, I could get away from the house and go, I'm going to Granny's house. But I'd go down and help grandma. And in the evenings, she'd pour about this much Old Milwaukee in the bottom of a juice glass. And we'd sit and watch her soap opera at, I don't know, 4:30 in the afternoon. It might have been Bob Barker, who knows? But it was grandma's time, and she would open a can of Old Milwaukee beer. She'd have like one a day. And I would drink like this much of it. She never really ever drank a full beer. But to the point, I'd go home with 2 hours of grandma, and mom would get, Granny sharing her beer with you again, didn't she? No, Mom. Well, I didn't know as a 12-year-old that you could smell the beer on my breath, Okay. But to the point, though, I wouldn't trade those times with Granny for anything. I didn't get drunk with her, but she shared her beer. It was just a beverage. It was a cold beverage. Have a little glass, Dave. We sat there and we were together. I loved it. And so there are people who are being kept from their grandchildren because of some silliness. Now, there are cases where there have been some really crappy things happen in family, but to the point, though, the parents are having issues resolving with their parent. I mean, the parent of the grandchild. And so it's like, so they're keeping the grandchildren away from the grandparents, when actually the grandparent might have been trying to fix this for years. Who knows? And it's like, please let me sit down and talk with y'all. Can we fix this? And is it too much for not speaking for myself? I'm making positively certain y'all get this. I'm speaking of other people. Could I be included? That's up to you. But this isn't about me. It's about the people that I know who never get a phone call from their child or their grandchildren. The grandchildren are kept away. Oh, mama treated me wrong back when I was little, or mama didn't buy me something, and I don't like the way mama treats me, or whatever the reason. I don't like the way mama did. But now, it may be time for these children to grow up some, but sometimes it takes a while for them to understand that they're going to become the grandparent one day, maybe. Some of them have. And it's to the point that it's like, well, wait a minute now. I'm 40 years old and I'm a grandparent. How in the hell did that happen? You know, well, it happened to me. It's happened to a lot of other people. So, what should we do about this? We need to respect other people. We need to honor other people. We need to say, you know what? Maybe I should take my pride, shove it in my back pocket, call, write, text, whatever, my parent, grandparent, grandchildren, or whatever, because it's about love. And we shouldn't be keeping each other from each other. It just shouldn't be that way. So if you have a grandparent, or whoever, whatever, that you may remember on today, blessings to you. If you have children, grandchildren, and if you can get in touch with them, if you got their phone number and mom and daddy will let you, call them. Because sometimes we have to put our pride in our back pocket and take the first step to mend things. So be kind, be cheerful, be honorable to one another, be respectful, be love. Till next time, have a wonderful day. Oh, and hurricane. Yes, East Coast. I almost forgot the hurricane part. If you're not prepared for what's coming across the Atlantic, even if it's just a couple of days of some hard rain, bad rain, without, quote, hurricane kind of stuff, y'all need to get it together because there's about 50 million people live along the East Coast. And depending on where that storm hits, if you wait too long, you ain't getting out. Now, we're all going to hope and pray that it's not going to be a bad storm. That's not the point. Too many times, little short storms. I mean, Gordon came up into the Gulf and did this little twirly whirly thing and dumped a bunch of rain on a lot of people. And there wasn't a lot of high winds and that kind of damage, but there was still a lot of flood damage. So people who are thinking, nah, I ain't going to worry about it. You better get some water. You better do a couple of things. You better get some fresh batteries. You better make sure you got a plan in case you need to get out. And if you live within 10 miles of the coast and a Cat 5 comes in, you're fixing to be wiped off the face of this earth because Hurricane Andrew, way back in the day, came into Florida and wiped out a whole section of Florida, just obliterated it. It wasn't even a Cat 5. So y'all be careful. Don't pay attention. Don't be scared, but be prepared. And if you're just fluffing it off like, I don't care. Don't do that. No, don't do that. Because there are some things happening right now in the cosmos and the air and everything. These storms are being made more powerful by the circumstances of the earth and some nasty people, by the way. But even a rainstorm, a heavy duty rainstorm as big as this thing is very important. Be prepared. Don't be stupid. Seriously. Okay. There are people I know is like, I grew up in Florida with hurricanes all the time. I woke up one morning. Now, the trailer I lived in was strapped down, tied down, and attached to the earth. I woke up the next morning out of a hurricane about 72-ish, 1972, and looked out across this field. And there used to be a trailer park over there. There was just nothing but a massive junk. Okay. So it's like, pay attention. It only takes a little bit and you ain't here no more, or your house ain't there, or whatever. So be prepared. Have a plan. Don't be a dummy about this, okay? Be smart. And that goes with Grandparents' Day and be smart about it. If you haven't been near your granny or your whatever, then do something about it. Be the one that makes the phone call. Be the brave one. Take your pride and extend it and say, you know what? I'm so proud of who I am. I'm going to take the first step and say, you know what? I'm going to call you and I'm going to apologize because I overreacted to what happened to us. 15 years ago, we had an incident. Don't you think it's time that we settled this or whatever it might be in your life? But be proud enough to do the right thing. Be proud in the fact that you can take the first step to make things better. Be proud in the fact that you can prepare for circumstances like this humongous storm that's headed towards the North Carolina coast kind of thing. So be careful, be loved, and be compassionate, because I got a nasty feeling this storm's going to do some damage. And there are going to be people who are going to need to help people. So you might get extra something that you might not need, but you may be able to help someone else who needs it. That's how we need to think about this. I got extra canned foods here, but it's in case somebody else needs them. Yeah, okay, I got maybe too much food for this old man, but I have extras in case somebody comes, if they need refuge. I have enough food to feed a couple of people, a couple of days at least. But to the point though, some of the prep things that I have prepped for are for other people. Maybe it's family or friends or somebody that gets run off the coast because of the storm. If you live far enough inland, okay, fine, batten down the hatches. But I'm here to tell you, 10 miles inland with a huge storm ain't squat. People in Orlando, Florida got smashed when a couple of years ago when several hurricanes went through. Orlando's in the middle of the state. Hello, Marie. How are you, my dear? Good morning and good afternoon from where I am. So it's like, these storms are serious. Like I say, even if it's just rainstorms, it's important. Um, Yesterday, I was reading through the reports about how much rain in Iowa, in the middle, and Missouri, and all these places, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, and it's moving to the east. And it's like, that's just rain, you know? And streets are flooded all over the place. I mean, up past up damn near to the door handle in some cases. And it's like, this hasn't happened in my lifetime as many times as it's happened this year. So please be smart. Please be good to yourself. And you don't know what else who that extra pack of batteries might go to your next door neighbor, or maybe a relative comes to stay, whatever it is. Have a little extra, because you never know where it might be needed. Okay. So it's not just about your own protection, but your extras can help along the way. So be kind to everyone. Be sweet. And Marie, I gotta go feed the chickens. I started doing this just off the fly. So, but I send my love to you, Miss Marie, out there, and I hope your day goes well. And with any luck, I'll be back. I've got another topic later on, but I just wanted to say happy Grandparents' Day to folks, and love to all of you. So bye bye for now. 3, 2, 1, and I'm out of here.